Well, after weeks of rising tensions in the Middle East, President Trump now welcoming Japan's prime minister's offer to broker talks with Iran. So could a third-party ally be the key to a breakthrough with Iran? A research fellow from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Behnam Taleblu, joins us now with more. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Good morning to you, Heather.
So is this a good idea, Shinzo Abe negotiating with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani?
Well, listen, I think the U.S. President Trump is playing it absolutely right here. He was cautiously optimistic, very cautiously welcoming the idea of Prime Minister Abe being able to mediate between the U.S. and Iran. But again, Washington must be careful not to dilute its very successful pressure campaign with a eagerness for diplomacy here. I think the success of the campaign is one reason why America's allies, like Japan, which have had to scale back their oil purchases, are looking to actually kind of end the current crisis.
So why is Japan so willing to jump into it?
I think there's multiple reasons. One can't forget, of course, the larger tariff issue between the U.S. and Japan right now, as well as the close personal relationship between President Trump and Prime Minister Abe, as well as the fact that the Japanese have had long-standing relations with Iran, both before and after the Islamic Revolution in 1979. So it's kind of a multifaceted, perfect piece of the puzzle here coming together.
So in terms of negotiations themselves, what could be negotiated that would benefit the U.S. here?
Well, it's really all open to interpretation here. It would be premature to kind of guess, but Japan would have to find a way to kind of dampen Iran's incentive to escalate against the U.S., find a way to restrain the nuclear program, and find a way to convince Iran that it's in Iran's interest to come back to the negotiating table and then multilateralize those talks, probably through the UN or through the P5+1 or through another mechanism. But all of this is still, again, way too early because Iran is looking to double down, triple down in the face of American pressure.
Yeah, we've also had Iraq offer to jump in and help in the negotiations as well.
That's absolutely right. And my guess is the more successful the administration's pressure campaign is, the more and more countries, whether they're allies like Japan or whether they're caught between Tehran and Washington, such as Iraq, would be looking to kind of offset tensions and mediate. So again, the administration must stay the course, continue to apply pressure, and make sure that Tehran knows it's serious about Washington's desire for a genuine, bigger, broader, and better deal.
And at the same time, dealing with North Korea, similar issues.
Very similar issues. Again, the president has used the max pressure campaign against both countries, looking to use coercive economic measures to bring both countries to the negotiating table. Both countries have traded missile technology with one another, as well as conventional military technology. Again, I would caution the administration to not prematurely undercut the success of its sanctions, as some could say has been the case with North Korea with respect to Iran.
And that is an area where there seems to be some disagreement between Shinzo Abe and President Trump when it comes to the short-term or short-range missiles that North Korea has recently launched.
I'm really glad you mentioned these short-range missiles because Iran actually has several missiles that it's gotten from North Korea that have been force multipliers for its missile program. And should Washington turn a blind eye to North Korea's more shorter-range systems, which threaten America's treaty allies in Northeast Asia, Tehran would have an incentive to stand firm on its missile arsenal and realize that Washington would only care about longer-range systems, some of which Tehran doesn't even have. So the goal is to take a firm line with one nuclear-inclined rogue state to get a good deal with another.
See, that's why I'm so glad that we do these segments, because I don't think people understand the connections there between these countries. Thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you with us this morning.